Meowdy y'all, and welcome back to another video. Stardew Valley is filled with a variety of colorful characters, some being instantly lovable, and some needing to be warmed up a little first. But is it possible that there is a malicious person that spends their time tormenting poor Linus? In today's video, we'll be discussing some lore and a possible theory on this, so buckle up. If you don't know me, I'm Sauter. I make Stardew Valley YouTube videos featuring game challenges, lore and theory crafting and analyses, so if you've got any feedback or suggestions for the next video, feel free to leave a comment below and hit that subscribe button for more. North of Robin's house, you'll find a small campsite where Linus resides. The first few dialogues with him are pretty guarded, and it's obvious he's very wary and cautious of strangers. I don't know you well enough to trust you. Sorry. I have to be wary of strangers. Most people don't like a wild man. Have you come to ridicule me? I'm just minding my own business. It feels as though he's been deeply hurt by others before, and for a while, we're left confused until he says, "Someone was throwing rocks in my tent last night. I just had to wait it out." What a horrible thing to do to someone like Linus, who is just trying to live his own life the way that he wants to. Who could be the culprit for this crime? I actually have two theories for y'all, but one of them is a little boring, so we won't spend too much time on it. The boring theory that I have is that the rocks that are being thrown at Linus's tent are just rocks falling off the mountain. I mean, look at how close his tent is to it. It's perfectly normal for animals or even just the wind to knock around some pebbles, and of course they'd fall right on his tent. But that's not too interesting of a theory, and it doesn't let us scrutinize over minute details so that we can send one of the Pelican Town residents to jail for bothering Linus. So let's continue. If there actually is someone that's doing this to Linus, who could it be? Linus is pretty resourceful and is even one of the people that will find you passed out in the mines and will rescue you. If he truly believes there is someone throwing rocks at his tent, maybe he's right. If we look at his springtime schedule, he goes to bed around 11 p.m., but he does hang out in his tent for a few hours before that. If we believe that he consistently goes to bed around the same time every night throughout the whole year, then we can safely say it wasn't Vincent or Jazz, as they are way too young to be awake around midnight and climb up the mountain by themselves just to throw rocks at Linus's tent. When we're playing Stardew Valley, it really doesn't feel like the locations are too far from each other. It feels as though Robin's house is right next to the rest of Pelican Town, but she even states, "You're always welcome to come visit us, even if you aren't shopping, you know. It can get pretty lonely up here in the mountains." So we should recognize that, gaming mechanics aside, the mountain area is actually really far away from Pelican Town. So it would be quite a trek to walk all the way up there just to bother Linus. I think we can also eliminate Evelyn and George. They're just not going to be healthy enough to climb up a mountain at midnight. Gus is up late working at the saloon and of course cleaning up afterwards. Surely Emily helps, so we'll eliminate both of them as well. Shane and Pam are regularly at the saloon and head home late and they go straight to bed. It's not them either. I honestly think we can eliminate most of Pelican Town because of the sheer distance away from the mountain, so that's going to eliminate a whole ton of them. The wizard, who lives outside of Pelican Town, is pretty far away, but we know he has magic to help him travel from place to place. However, we can see that the wizard and Linus are actually friends, as they can be seen at the Spirits Eve festival. There's a dialogue in the game's data files where Linus calls the wizard an old friend. So that's going to narrow it down significantly to Robin, Demetrius, Maru, and Sebastian. Linus is living right outside of their property. Is it possible they have a distaste for him and how close he resides? I honestly doubt it. Robin even states, "Have you met the wild man that lives behind our house? I guess I don't really mind, as long as he doesn't bother us." Demetrius and Maru don't really have any dialogue specifically talking about Linus, but they do have quite a few talking about the local fauna and all of the interesting things to see in the valley. Considering how much Linus really loves foraging and all of the things that nature provides, I can't seriously imagine Maru or Demetrius having a problem with him. Sebastian does hang out in the area at night quite a bit, and even states, "I usually only go outside after dark." Does that sound weird to you? He can be found outside around 7:30 p.m. sometimes smoking as well. The timing makes sense. And he's in walking distance. But is he seriously that malicious? I think Sebastian is a pretty outspoken person, especially if he doesn't like someone. Concerning Maru, his half-sister that he literally shares a house with, he states to us, "Why does everyone like Maru so much? Sure, she's smart and friendly, but don't they realize it's just all an attention-grabbing scam?" Sorry. I think if Sebastian really doesn't like someone, he'd say so. But there's no dialogue where he talks about Linus. I really don't think Sebastian is so capable of this. So who do I theorize our culprit is? The dwarf. hear me out. The mines are right there. Even Linus goes in there at night since he's the one that rescues you sometimes. The distance makes perfect sense. And isn't it possible that since Linus goes into the mines, the dwarf has probably seen Linus and has followed him outside the mines? We know the dwarf leaves the mines because they state, "I got all this stuff from the surface. I just take it from your people during the night." What is this concept you call private property? The dwarf has no problem just going into people's houses and taking stuff if they want, maybe even searching through their trash. But what would compel the dwarf to throw rocks at Linus's tent, though? The dwarf can regularly ask us, "You're not a spy sent by the shadow people, are you? I'm keeping my eye on you." Most humans fear the unknown. That's why I've hidden my shop here. Your mining skills prove you're trustworthy. I theorize that since the dwarf sees Linus entering the mines, but never actually mining, thus not proving that he's trustworthy, the dwarf is spying on Linus and is very skeptical of him. The dwarf doesn't know if Linus was sent by the shadow people. And since the dwarf has no respect for private property, they've taken it upon themselves to try to get Linus away from their turf, where they can peacefully run their shop. After you reach Ginger Island's north side, the dwarf can say to you, "If you enter the volcano on Ginger Island, you might encounter others like me. Don't be alarmed, we're peaceful with humans." The dwarf isn't going to harm Linus in any way, shape, or form, but they're definitely going to do everything in their power to get a little bit more space from an untrustworthy person and maybe force Linus to move somewhere else. Let's just hope the dwarf never tries any of this with Marlin, who will probably just slice them in half. With that said, I hope you all enjoyed this video, and thank you so much for watching. I stream pixel art and Stardew Valley on Twitch, so if you'd like to check that out, link in description. And if you've got a suggestion for the next video or some headcanons that y'all have and want to share, be sure to leave a comment down below and make sure to subscribe to catch my next video. I'll be making more Stardew Valley videos, so keep an eye out. See y'all next time. Bye!